Don't make the mistake of underestimating my samurai. Soon after this, the legend Oden himself gave up his life. And well, he was not wrong in that. We will see why is that in this chapter. Let the rumble begin! Well, hello One One Clan members. Hope you are in happy mode. I certainly am. Cause today we are gonna talk about the very latest chapter 991 title Let Us Die. Well, we have been having these die titles a lot and the scabbards are going to die. So Oda has been hammering this a lot more than usual. So maybe he has something more planned which we are not yet aware of. So let's see how this goes. But as most of us already predicted, the chapters where the battle royale begins, everyone's fighting everyone, no one's fixated on one single opponent. They just clash with whoever comes right into their line of sight. Whoever's closest to them, they just start a fight with them. So the same things goes on in this chapter also. A single straw hat is fighting more than one opponent, and same is with the enemies. So check out the complete video for my take on this chapter and how Odin's words before dying of not underestimating his samurai are holding true to this point. Before we get into this beastly chapter, let's look into the cover story very quickly. We have finally Pound meeting up, and I should say finally hanging out with his family. He finally got his hug as a father, his first hug as a father after 6 years of waiting. Because you may remember that Big Mom, as soon as she gave birth to the Lola and Chiffon, she kicked him out, so he could not even look at them. So that it's quite the moment for Pound, and we have Lola Chiffon and Beji all very happy, and little Pez is also very happy. He's standing. Now that's out of the way. Let's start with this beast chapter. We start off right where we left off with Drake when he flew out of that floor when he was ambushed by Who's Who and Queen. He flew out from there, and he took out one of the numbers while Luffy took out the other one and asked him to fight alongside him, declaring he's an army of one. So, all the others Beast Pirate members are a little shocked seeing Drake is fighting along this. Has taken out one of the numbers. They are well confused. Obviously, one of the Toby Robo has taken out one of the numbers. Why is that so? So, not only the Beast Pirate members, the samurai also who have seen Drake into a dinosaur form are confused because all the samurai think that the dinosaurs are their enemies, and they obviously saw Drake into his dinosaur form from the last chapter. So they are confused that why is a dinosaur helping them. We see page 1. He is also thinking that why would Drake take out one of the numbers. We have a little monologue with Drake recalling to the time when Kobe was obviously fanboying about Luffy to him continuously. Kobe states that if you are a friend of Luffy, he'll help you in every way possible. He will see to it that you are completely safe, and you are not facing any big problems or anything like that. But if you are an enemy, he's completely out of reach. You can not even make contact with him because he trusts his friend very dearly, but he's not gonna listen to one thing if you're his enemy. And he continues with the saying that he has the power that pulls people in towards him. It is the same thing which Mihawk said during the Marineford arc when Luffy was running away from him, and he was having that little scuffle with Flower Vista. Mihawk also stated the same thing, and it's just a common any anime protagonist trope. It's nothing new to Luffy. These are some characteristics which any anime protagonist have. So getting back towards present, we see Luffy. He states that he knows Drake. Now we are well aware that this is the first time Luffy has ever made contact with Drake directly. But when But Tenkuyama Hitetsu did mention Drake's name to Luffy when he told him that the village they are living on was destroyed by the latest member to the Beast Pirates, and he was DX Drake. So Luffy might be thinking back to that time, and he may have recognized that okay, he's the one who destroyed Tama's village. So when Luffy continues that okay, I know you and you wanna defeat Kaido, he asked Drake. Drake continues that I cannot tell you why, but well, our goals are aligned. So let me join you. And now we have the right hand man Zoro himself clashing with the Drake for a bit. He is looking out for his captain, saying that don't. He says to Drake that don't go pulling any of this stupid crap at an hour last like this. And well, he warns Luffy that he has already been under Kaido's wing, just like Hawkins. Don't trust him. And amongst all this fighting and all, Luffy is for some reason sitting down. He's I think getting tired already, or well, he's just too chill to give a crap about anything going on around here. He's just ready to fight Kaido. Drake, well, he continues convincing the others that I've been flushed out from that position. And well, Zoro continues saying that you think we are your next shelter. This reminds me of well the time when Nico Robin also wanted to join the crew. She was the one who asked Luffy to join the crew, and the others were like, "You have already been working under Kaido, and you think this is your next shelter?" And it was Zoro only who showed most distrust towards Robin. So this reminds me of that part. And well, this time we have other members also opposing, teaming up with Drake. We have Frankie and Jimbe, who says that you should not trust him. But well, Luffy being Luffy says that okay, he can be on our side. Now he may be using his haki to sense if there's any evil intent within Drake, just like the time when he first met Yamato. He was like, okay, I can trust you. You have no evil intent in you. You do not want to harm me. So well, he trusted Yamato at that point, and well, this is that has been going very well for now. So we can be sure that Drake is also not gonna double cross Luffy. No, the three members. Frankie, Jimbe, and Zoro all said, though, no, he cannot join. And Frankie goes another step saying that, shut up, Captain, you moron. And we see a little speech bubble with the Drake, just dot dot dot, because he's obviously very confused among this situation. The other Straw Hat pirates are all refusing to team up with him, but well, Luffy has already said that he's okay with Drake working with them. So well, the other samurais now at this point are saying that you should continue towards the castle. We should not hold on and continue fighting Kaido. As the samurai continue to clear the way for Luffy and the others, right standing in front of them are now the two members of Tobiropo, Page One and Ulti. They also they also set Luffy as the captain. Well, they have recognized that he is the one who is the captain for all, and Ulti always obviously remembers Luffy from the time when they had butted each other. So she's like it's him again, and she's already infuriated and frustrated, more like not infuriated. The samurai launch towards them, but well, both of them turn into their dinosaur forms and start taking out the samurais one by one. Luffy also remembers the two, and we can see Sanji also joining the fray. He says he also remembers Page One from the time when he fought him in the Flower Capital. Well, at that time he was in his red suit, so Page One would not recognize him, but Sanji did, and he also sees Ulti, and he is once again like, who's that cutie? Well, that's Sanji. Nothing can be done about his character at this point. He is already lost. So well, Page 1 charges towards Luffy, saying that you won't get another chance to see Kaido. And at the same time, when he's charging towards Luffy, we see a boom attack, special attack, Green Star, Skull Blast Crush, and we see a cloudy Brook. Well, it's not Brook, it's obviously a skull, but well, I had to mention Brook after seeing a skull like that. And that attack has, I think, significant damage to Page 1 because well, he looks completely blasted at this point. So well, Ulti is confused at what happened. She looks back from where the attack came, and we see Nami standing there. At this point, Nami announces herself that I am Nami, and my favorite kind of pest control is getting rid of lizards. I hope you are ready for this. Well, this was quite shocking because it's not like her to announce like that, announce herself like that, even if she attacked. And I also checked back. I also was confused for a bit. I checked back that is there any attack using her climb attack. Through and through, the attack was for Usopp. So well, in the next panel itself, we see Usopp hiding right behind Nami, announcing him as Nami so that he is not being targeted. Well, Nami turns back, saying that don't hide behind me. This also reminds me to the point when in Fishman Island, the 1 lakh fishmen were about to attack the Straw Hats, and Nami was standing behind Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji, saying that what's 100,000? We can take them on using Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji as human shields. This is same. I think Usopp is getting back at Nami for that time. Now, well, seeing all the situation, Nami is like, okay, the battle has already begun. She just declares that, okay, I'll take you on, and well, she starts running away, quickly followed by Usopp himself. And well, Page 1 and Ulti are all both very angry at them. They also start charging towards them. Now we have Sanji who says that Usopp, I'm counting on you to keep Nami safe for me. So well, it's like Sanji has started following No Simp September and given up on Nami at this point. Well, this is the second time Sanji has done this. When they were first infiltrating the castle at Black Maria's establishment, also Sanji took off. So well, in this chapter, it's like in this arc, he's not as much as simping for Nami. So Sanji has grown and he is following No Simp September. I respect Sanji for that. He says Luffy that you should go and catch up with Kinemon and the rest. Luffy quickly senses that there's Appu standing in front of him and warns Sanji to cover his ears. Appu attacks them using his devil fruit powers, and well, he mentions that okay, you have realized how to stand up, face up these powers to get around the powers, but fighting with your ears covered is not gonna be easy. Well, for one, both of your hands are busy covering your ears, so it's obviously very difficult. In the next panel, we finally see the bounty for Scratchman Appo. At the Sabaody Archipelago, it was 198 million, and now, well, it is 350 million. It's around Zoro and Sanji's only. Well, because Luffy's bounty, well, for special reasons, has already crossed a billion. So the Luffy is a special case, but his bounty is around Zoro and Sanji's. It makes sense because well, Zoro and Sanji's are also members of a crew and not captain themselves, and same is with Appu. So it makes sense that his bounty is around that only. Appu sees all the three numbers fainted, Jaki, Goki, and Juki, and he says that you have already laid waste to countless towns together. How can you get clobbered up while you are drunk at a party? So now we have another one of the numbers, Hacha, show up, and Appu says that to Hacha to show them their true power, show them what really happens when an ancient giants let it all out. And the samurai is confused use Apu for an animal trainer or something like that. We can see Luffy and Sanji are running right towards Apu. So Luffy says that I'll fight Apu, but it is Sanji who said that you don't have to stop. There's no end to them. Just keep on going, keep on moving forward. Frankie is like, okay, there are 10 of them, but I cannot take out all 10 of them. I don't have enough cola. You may remember the last chapter, or maybe before that one. Frankie took out one of the numbers using his radical beam. So, he is strong enough, but to keep on going the fight, the numbers are not the only opponent. So, to keep on continuing fighting, he need to preserve his energy, and his energy is obviously his cola. So, he needs to preserve that. Jinbei is like anything can be a menace with enough numbers. So we see a panel with Hacha, and he is interested in Frankie Shogun. Everyone's quite interested in this docking robot, so he's also taken an interest in him, and Jinbei is quick to notice that. So he asked Frankie to run away out of this dome, so that he is not fighting, so that the Hacha, he probably followed Frankie, and the samurai won't have to deal with him, because samurai can, they can fight, but they are just too small and not strong enough to take out one of these giant members. So Frankie quickly accepts that, and he runs away, saying that you think General Frankie is a toy, and he'll make sure that he regrets thinking that. So next up, we continue that little scuffle between Drake and Zoro. Drake is still trying to convince Zoro that the victory for the Straw Hat serves his purpose also. So how does that suit you? But the problem with the only problem Zoro has with Drake is that he does not know where he stands, where his actual loyalty lies. So he needs to know that first, then only he can trust him. And at the same time, Apu shows up right in front of them. He's calling out the numbers, but Drake and Zoro are quick to attack him. They are well aware that if the numbers show up, it will be a problem given their huge size. After being hit, Apu is like, "Oh, Drake, I heard that you have already betrayed Kaido, and who are you gonna leech off next? Is it that tiny pirate crew?" Referring to the Straw Hats, given that they have only 10 members at this point. So, Drake continues saying that I always hated that guy. I am gonna destroy him, but not for you. And at this point, it seems like the goals for Zoro and Drake have also aligned. He says that seems like we have the same idea. Let's team up. Apu is shocked, but before they could deal any damage to Apu, we have Queen show up using his Gatling gun, and he just blasts a full magazine at them from the floor where they ambushed Drake earlier, calling out Drake that you think you can just run away after what you did, you traitor. And he adds that no, make that spy. And the samurai are not very much acquainted with these advanced weapons, so it's quite easy for them to get hurt and all. Zoro is also not very used to a Gatling gun. He's also that was a weird weapon. But Drake, he knows what Queen is capable of, and he is like, you think you can kill me with that? But after that thought, he has another thought saying that unless these bullets, and it's end right there. It's obviously he's thinking that if the bullets are sea stone coated or something like that, it's gonna be huge problem, given that they are all devil fruit users. So he's scared of that only. Now we cut back towards where the fighting between the Minx and Jack is going on. We see a panel with the mammoth teeth of Jack being broken, and he's very heavily wounded. We can see injuries on his eye and other various parts. He has in swords pierced to his nose and all, trunk and all, and he fell. He's now falling towards the ground. At the same time, Kaido shows up to protect, well, to protect his crew member, his subordinate. As Kaido makes a move, the rest of the samurai are also ready to join the battle. They were well chilling at this point, while Nekomamushi and Inuarashi were taking on Jack. So well, Kaido is like Jack is one of my hand-picked lead performance. I will not sit back and watch, as one of my most valued men is killed. Jack is obviously very sad, and he seems like one of the most loyal members towards Kaido. Well, all of them are loyal, but he seems like the guy who's actively trying to do everything in his power to support Kaido. He never misses an opportunity to help Kaido in any which way. So he's sad that he failed Master Kaido, and he's just, I mean, he's sobbing a bit, and Kaido adds that no, that does not make you weak. It's just that they are too strong. And then boom, we have the panel, the beautiful panel with the Minks, the Inurashi and Nekomamushi in their Sulong form, and well, they look like a beast for sure. We have their all the fur going on. They have their horns growing on them, and the most interesting feature for me was the whiskers going on there. It's just too cool to look at them. Their nails are all growing out. We can see Inurashi's Gatling arm. It looks all very interesting. Kaido continued that the Sulong power has grievously injured them, but Jack did well to keep the Sulongs in check. We can see the panels with most of the Beast Pirate members who were atop the Skull Mountain. They have been injured, and also the members from Zo, all the Minks have also been injured. Most of them are well on the verge of death, I should say. So Jack is also well. He's losing consciousness at this point. Kiemon is now getting ready to fight. He's taking out his sword. Kaido also starts charging up his Boro breath. As Kaido attacks using his Boro breath, Kinemon jumps into the air, and using his Foxfire style, well, he can cut fire. So it's gonna be very useful for them in this fight. He uses his attack Foxfire style, Flame Rend, and cuts off Kaido's attack. Also, that attack not only cut off the flame, the Boro breath, but also injured Kaido. So well, it's very interesting that how it up till this point Kaido has been built up like the dragon deity who cannot be injured. We have only seen just one injury on his body, and that was from the legend himself, Odin. So it's interesting how these scabbards are powerful enough to injure Kaido using their attacks, using their air slashes only. In the when the scabbards all jumped onto Kaido in chapter 986, I guess it was. At that point, also most of them pierced Kaido's skin. At that time, also Kaido was thinking back to that how can they use Odin's haki. So it's like the samurai from Wano are just too strong. We have I think I have been underestimating them, that they can not injure Kaido as much as the others expected. I thought that no, they might stop him or something like that, but they will not be able to injure him or anything like that. But now we can see them attacking and injuring Kaido one after another. We see a little panel with every of the member from the Red Scabbards saying that don't make me laugh, we won't run away, we are tired of running and hiding, we will either die or win, just let us die. The title of the chapter is Let Us Die. So well, it's for once again for the Scabbards only. It's I think fourth or fifth time when the Scabbards has mentioned that they are ready to die. So well, most of them are obviously going to die, and they say that once we have taken your head, uh, we will be happy to die in peace. And well, there with that the chapter ends. There is no break next week, so that's some good news. and I got some intel that we'll have 2 chapters or 3 chapters, and then Oda will take a break so that he can reach to the 1,000th chapter by the end of the year, just right before Christmas. So that I'm not completely sure on that intel, so it might be true, it might not be true. We'll see how Oda has planned stuff, and unpredictability always happens, so look out for that also. Now this was my review for the chapter. If you enjoyed, do hit like and comment down your thoughts on any of the part which you enjoyed the most. The If you want to be updated on future videos, do subscribe and ring that notification bell. You can follow me on Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. The links are on the description and the about section for the page. Have a good day night everybody, for whichever time zone you are in. Signing out.